Have you ever wondered how your favorite fake characters in history met their untimely demise? I know I sure have. So here's how every single character in FGO met their end. Artoria, patricide. Nero, got too silly. Siegfried, backstabbed. Caesar, political differences. Altera, an anime-style nosebleed that choked him to death. Gilderay, hung. Dayon, undescribed illness. Okita.
Yeah, I got TB. I got it. Beating the man.
Fergus, speared while swimming, climbed out of the water, pulled the spear out, and then threw it at the blind man who did it to him, and then died. Mordred, filicide. Shiki, alive. Rama, depends on the version, but drowning by suicide. Lancelot, guilt. Gawain, murdered. Bedivere, guilt. Musashi, died in a cave. Suzuka, unclear. Frankenstein, the Arctic tundra. Yagyu, illness in bed. Sigurd, wife. Diarmid, trusting your boss. Lan Ling, poison. Benny, Fate's Benny in particular was a child prostitute who had her tongue cut out, and so tried to escape into the mountains where she succumbed to the elements. Lakshmi Bai, British. Jason, his boat fell on him. Astolfo, unknown. The Dioscuri ascended to the heavens. Tomoe, becoming religious. Saito Hajime, old age. Watanabe, unknown. Ibuki, currently alive. Karna, shot by Arjuna. Muramasa, unknown. Barghest, being too mad at the British. Okita Alter, still alive. Kind of. The Trung twins, rebelling against the Chinese. Charlie, illness, likely pleurisy. Roland, died in battle. Gareth, killed by Lancelot. Yamanami, seppuku. Theseus, thrown from a cliff. Takeru decided to fuck with Ibuki. Iori, unknown. Richard, gangrene from a crossbow. Kurohime, was taken by a snake god. Kondo, beheading. Jacques, burned at the stake after being tortured. Emiya, alive. Gilgamesh, old age. Robin, bloodletting gone wrong. Adelante, turned into a lion that way she couldn't sleep with her lover. Uriel, eaten by Medusa. Arash, being the goat. Orion, scorpion or lightning depending on who you ask. David, old age. Nobu got Honoji. Tesla, New York traffic. Arjuna tried climbing the Himalayas. Billy the Kid, gunfighting. Kristen, suicide. Tota, unknown. Anne and Mary, Mary died of illness and Anne vanishes from history. Chloe, alive. Ishtar, alive. Moriarty, waterfall accident. Emiya Alter, alive. Fujino, Shiki. Chiron had an oopsie-daisy with hydra venom. Napoleon, left to rot on an island. William Tell, drowned while trying to save a child. Ashvathaman, died of being too angry. Technically, he's immortal. Paris, his ex held a grudge against him and let him die of his war wound. Osakabe Hime, alive. Calamity Jane, died of illness. Nightingale, died of old age. Super Orion, the other myth is that he was shot by his wife. Sei Shonagon, unknown. Ilya, alive. Nobukatsu, fratricide. Val von Sheath, killed by dismemberment. Anastasia, gunned down in a basement. Zenobia, losing to Rome. Tametomo, committed seppuku. Takasugi,
I got it. Beating the man. To death. For a few bucks.
Durga, alive. Ptolemaeus, old age. Sugitani, buried up to her neck and then having it sawed off slowly. Saika, unclear but probably in battle. King Tut, stabbed in the back. Kuhulin, died standing by tying himself to a stone with his own intestines. Liz, inurement. Benkei, shot with just a shit ton of arrows. Romulus, taken by the gods. Leonidas died at Thermopylae. Hector killed Achilles' boyfriend. Skahawk, alive. Theon, alive, albeit passed out in a cave somewhere. Brynhild, self-immolation. Li Shuen, drank poison tea. Kiyohime, drowning. Vlad, either assassinated or accidentally killed by his own men. Enkidu, pissed off the gods. Taiga, trusted Kiara. Raiko, unknown. Parvati, alive. Holzuin, died of old age. Neza died and had to be regrown, but technically still alive. Ereshkigal, alive. The Valkyries, alive. Ibaraki, technically speaking, still alive. Qin Liang Yu, died of old age. Bradamante, unknown. Kagetora, the very sharp bidet. Gareth, really bad headache. Canis, just a ridiculous amount of trees. Eris is alive. Yu in Fate Canon, alive. Vritra, Bubbles. Melu, Big Bug and the Power of Christ. Perseus, unclear, but in some instances he gets raptured for being a good boy. Ryoma, assassinated in his own home. Marianning, old age. Don Quixote, becoming less silly. Britomart, unknown. Bhima, same as Arjuna. Dabi, unknown. Bishone, very large spear. Ashoka, got sick and gave everything away. Indra, alive. Harada, either died of battle wounds or escaped Japan, went to China and became the leader of mounted bandits, where he came to the rescue of Japanese troops during the Sino-Japanese War before vanishing and presumably dying of old age. Demeter, alive. Medusa, beheading. George, killed for being a Christian. Blackbeard, died the way he lived. Boudica, pissing off the Romans. Ushi, fratricide. Marie, guillotine. Martha, unknown. Drake died of dysentery. Maeve, cheese to meet you. Eskander, malaria. Ozymandias, old age and bad dentistry. Quetzalcoatl, alive. Columbus, just terrible arthritis. Ivan got really frustrated at a game of chess. Achilles, shot through the heel by Paris. Red hair, unknown but probably old age. Reynes, alive. Bart, grape shot to the throat. Carmilla got by vampire hunters. Mandricardo was killed in battle. Europa was taken by the gods. Odysseus was either gotten by old age or killed by his son depending on the reading. Murasaki, it's unknown. Nemo, a big-ass explosion. Habitrot, being remembered. Taigong Wang, I don't fucking know, man. They say he showed up, said he was dead after living for over 100 years, and then they had to bury him, but because he was clearly not dead, they did the burial without a corpse, and so technically he's alive, I guess. Constantine, pissing off the Ottomans. Bakin, old age. Guang Fei Hu, died in battle. Takeda Shingen, he just kind of died one day and no one knows why, like he just kind of did that. Andromeda, made into a constellation. Noah, lived for almost 1,000 years and then gave up the ghost. Hippolyta, it depends on who you ask. Sometimes it's killed by Herc, others it's accidentally by the Amazons. Medea, unknown. Hans, fell out of his bed and bumped his head. Shakespeare, unknown. Mephisto, presumably he's alive. Mozart, unknown disease. Zhui Liang, died of an illness in camp. Tamamo, shot to death in a field. Nursery rhyme, presumably alive, otherwise turned into data. Paracelsus, cause of death is unknown with theories ranging from assassination to accidental lead poisoning. Babbage died of a UTI, but also they kept half of his brain, which is on display. Helena Blavatsky died of old age. Thomas Edison also died of old age, but also keeping with the weird trends, his last breath is bottled in a vial somewhere. Geronimo got bucked off his horse in the middle of winter. Irisfield became a cup. Sanzo, unknown. Nitocris, murder-suicide. Da Vinci, just way too many strokes. If we want to be technical with Ilya, she actually does get gilled in one instance. Merlin followed that succubussy into a tree and then never came out. Sheba, unknown. Circe, presumably is alive. Scheherazade, died of old age. Avasbraun was either run over by a horse or murdered by a worse poet. Sieg, alive. Scotty, alive. Miyu, alive. Asclepius pissed off the gods by saying that he would stop people from dying. Chen Gong chose to follow Cao Cao's rules and got hung for it. Castoria, technically speaking fluffy, but also technically speaking is alive. Miss Crane, unknown. Charlotte Corday was beheaded and then slapped afterward. Izumo no Okuni, unknown. The Daikokuten, presumably alive. Zhang Zhu, failed rebellion. Wu Zetian, sick and possibly poisoned. Ash the Savior, got Chaldea'd. Yui took on the Tokugawa and got found out. Kuonji Alice, alive. Ono no Komachi, old age and depression. Hanasaka no Okina, presumably old age. Praladi, executed for being a little silly bastard. Sasaki Kojiro, hit with a really big oar. Kurstar Masan, Gramps. Steno, eaten by Medusa. Jean Kay, missed her chance and got executed for it. Charles Henry Sanson, illness. Phantom dies of a broken heart. Matahari, firing squad. Jack the Ripper, unclear. Jekyll and Hyde, suicide. Mysterious Heroine X, alive. Carrie, got mangoed. Hundred Face, Gramps. Shuten Doji, beheaded. Fumakotaro, beheaded by the Tokugawa. Serenity, Gramps. Cleopatra, snake bites. Gramps is alive, I think? Kind of, it depends on who you ask. Yan King, old age with his wife. Chiome, unknown, might not even be real. Danzo, beheaded by the Takeda clan. Semiramis, unknown. Izo, Ryoma didn't save him from being executed. Kama got India beamed. Gray is alive. Hogan is alive. Koyanskaya of Light is alive. Huyanzhou died in battle. Tezcatlipoca is presumably alive. Lacusta got the giraffe incident. Tashin Koji Super Mario 64'd her way out of reality. Shining Star Hassan, Gramps. Kawakami Gensai, executed for harboring members of the Takasugi group. Hebi Nyobo, big ass wave. Herc, his drip was so bad he burnt himself to death willingly. Lu Bu, executed by hanging. Spartacus, killed while fighting oppression. Kintoki, unknown. Asterios, found someone better at mazes than him. Caligula got group assassinated. Darius was just hit by a shit ton of javelins. Eric got assassinated alone in the woods. Beowulf died of old age. Exalter, killed by X but technically is under the respawn timer. Hijikata was shot off his horse. Cha-Cha, they burnt down the castle that she was in. Penthesilea tried fighting Achilles. Paul Bunyan is technically alive but on one account says that he died in a gas leak. Zhang Yu, suicide after a loss followed by the other side ripping him apart. Mori Nagayoshi, shot in the head while giving orders. Salome, unknown but there's a myth that she fell into a river and got stuck on her neck. Kijo Koyo, killed while trying to seduce a samurai. Galatea, unknown. Morgan, Historically, technically, they'd be alive. Grimhild, murder party. Sendo Rikyu, Tokugawa. Duryodhana thought that he was him and found out really quick that he was not. Shinpachi, old age. Sojiro, spoilers. Lohi, alive. Lilith, alive. Mash, alive. Joan of Arc, burned for being a witch. Amakusashiro tried to be Christian in Japan. Holmes, unclear. Qin Huang, mercury poisoning. Estrella went back to heaven because the earth sucks. Himiko, natural causes. Karen, alive. Io, unknown. Johanna, gender reveal gone wrong. Dante's, unknown. Jalter, alive. Angra, alive. Lobo, loved his wife a little bit too much. Salieri attempted suicide, failed, and succumbed to dementia. Taira starved himself to death while being captured. Ranmaru got Honoji'd. Ushigozen, technically speaking, killed herself with herself. Todo Heisuke jumped by the Shinsengumi. John Lackland died of dysentery. Phoebe, alive. Jinako, alive. Kiara, either Hakuno gets her or Suzuka gets her, it depends on which side you're looking at. Arcuid, alive. Ciel, wishes she wasn't, but is also alive. Tenochi, alive. The Hakunos, alive. R.I.P. Kiara, the only dead moon cancer. Meltralis, alive but possibly Data. Lip, alive but possibly Data. Shitonai, unknown. KP, alive but possibly Data. Ashiadomen tried cucking Seme, killed Seme, and then when he was visited by Seme, got murdered by Seme. Baz, alive. Taisui, alive. Jufu vanished on a boat filled with kids, and no, that's not a joke, and no, you will not be making those jokes. Rasputin, poisoned, shot, thrown into a frozen river, and then shot in the head again to make sure that he was dead. Tiamat, naughty children who ripped her into pieces. Azumi no Izora, alive. Kazura Drop, alive but possibly dead, but also possibly dead depending on what story you're telling. Flora, alive. Abby, disappeared. Hoku, old. MHXX, alive. Yongui Fei, choked to death by a man with one testicle. Voyager, alive but slowly dying of old age as we speak. Van Gogh, shot through the heart in a field by himself. I swear to God, if you mention that he was murdered, I will Boyansky of Dark, alive. Kukulkan, alive. Naknara, poison. Wangina, alive. Alco, alive. Oberon, currently falling infinitely within himself. Ephesian, nasty chicken. Cagliostro, got by the Inquisition. Dante, malaria. Typhoon, alive but in hell. Solomon, natural causes. And finally, Olga, who is alive, kind of. And that's it, 70 live and 30 unknown. I promise you I didn't forget any, I just didn't want to say patricide for King Arthur in their various variants at least 30 different times. If you like this video and want to support the channel, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support me directly, check out this link here to Itasha Coffee using my promo code for a discount. It's good coffee that can help you stay up at night now that you know all of this. Let me know who you think has the most gruesome death and why it's Lacusta. Keep your chin up, fellas. Peace.